Scout Fantasy Sports.
All right, we're back for Scout Fantasy Sports. Dr. Roto along with Adam Ronis. Got another hour with you guys here. Loving this. 2 o'clock on a Friday, Ronis. Anywhere else you'd rather be?
Nope, talking fantasy baseball. That's what I want to do.
All right, can we do it with Ray Murphy from Baseball HQ? Let's see if we can. Ray, how's it going?
Good afternoon.
All right, nice to. I didn't see you at FSTA this year. We missed you. I had to be next to your friend Brent, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I know. It was, cross-country flight for, what ended up being half a draft, since we did half of it online, was a little tough to swallow. But I did miss the post-draft festivities for sure.
Absolutely. So, Ray, let's take a look at your team here. I'll let Adam ask the question next, but let's talk about Altuve and Cody Bellinger. Was there any doubt that you were going to take Altuve at 2? Did you think about Arenado, Trey Turner, or was your heart set the minute Rudy said Trout 1, you knew you were going Jose Altuve at 2?
I pretty much knew I was going Altuve at 2 from the moment the draft slots were assigned. It's a slightly closer discussion in the Tout Wars OBP format than it is in a batting average league, but it was still Altuve pretty clearly for me. So that was pretty settled. And in fact, the OBP thing made Rudy's pick of Trout number 1 also cast in stone. So Altuve was the least dramatic move of the night for me.
One of the questions, I think, was Zach Greinke in round 3, because you selected him over Justin Verlander, Jacob deGrom, Madison Bumgarner, Luis Severino. What was the thinking behind that? Was it just you're that high on Greinke? Is it the humidor? Are you down on some of the other arms? Because typically Greinke goes after these guys. So what is it that makes you so high on Greinke or lower on some of the other arms that went after?
It's a little bit of everything you just said. I am a big believer. I'm pro humidor and the effect it's going to have on the Arizona pitchers. I think the impact is significant. So that has bumped Greinke up my draft board to begin with. And yeah, I do have some questions about the other guys between Verlander, deGrom, Bumgarner, Severino. They all, that might have been close calls with Greinke before the humidor, but after them, Greinke jumps up a little bit for me. deGrom's got some questions this spring that might, health-wise, it might be minor. Verlander's, as terrific as he was second half of last year, I don't know that he gets back to that level for a full season. The price point here seems to indicate that he will. Bumgarner's probably going to be fine. I had some questions about him entering spring training just off of the lost velocity at the end of last year, et cetera. But his camp is going pretty well. So my concerns there are sort of dropping by the week. But Greinke for a newly good pitching environment, durability, decent team. It's an interesting tier there, but he does bubble to the top of it for me.
Now, with Greinke, this draft was Tuesday night, but some news came out yesterday that he was only topping out at 87 miles per hour with his fastball in an inter-squad game, sitting mainly between 84, 86. He's not a guy that throws hard anyway. He knows how to pitch. He was at 91 most of the year last year. If I'm not mistaken, I think the same thing happened last year and he dropped down boards. But if you were to do the draft tonight with this news out, would that change anything for you?
Tonight I'd be fine. Like you said, I'm pretty sure this is a phenomenon that's gone on with him for last spring, maybe even a couple of springs running. And we're also 3 weeks from opening day and his first start. If this was 10 days out from the start of the season, then he only had one more tune-up start to crank it up, I might be a little more worried. My traditional statement is that I don't care about spring training game results and performances until St. Patrick's Day. We probably need to move that up a couple of days this year just because of the earlier opening day, but I still don't think I'm at that point yet. I think let's call it Monday. Starting next week, I'll start shining a closer light at performances like that. But on March 6th, March 7th, March 9th today, I'm not too worried about it.
Ray, we've been talking about Matt Carpenter recently, that he's a good hitter, shows a lot of power, but he's not 100% healthy. You took him in round 6. Rudy Gamble said that he was considering Carpenter, but Adam and I are both questioning whether or not Carpenter is the real Matt Carpenter. What are your feelings on him this season?
I don't know exactly what the real Matt Carpenter is either. We wrote something in the Baseball Forecaster this year that said, he's sort of established over the last couple of years that based on whether he is pretending to be a line drive hitter or a fly ball hitter, he can hit 300 or he can hit 35 home runs, but he can't do both. So I don't know exactly what version we're going to get this year. And sure, the health questions, add a little more uncertainty there. But, he's another guy that, has some additional value in the OBP league. And, whether we get the power or the batting average or some combination thereof, he and the position flexibility, that all sort of added up to something that seemed pretty valuable there in the sixth round.
Will Myers early in round 4. We always changing positions this year, going from first base to the outfield, a little power, a little speed. You have Cody Bellinger who can play first or outfield. Why Myers in round 4? At first I thought maybe it was first base, that you worried about first base. Was it just the power-speed combo and any concern about him moving to the outfield where maybe there's more chance of an injury?
Yeah, maybe a little more chance of injury. I think he's probably a little bit more of a mature player than he was when he was more of a daredevil outfielder when he first came up in Tampa. So, and that outfield in San Diego is pretty big too. So he's going to get to the wall before he has any problems there. So hopefully that helps. The position change is only a minor concern, and really the pick was about, less about the position and more about the power speed combo. And one thing about both Bellinger and Myers, they're both first base outfield eligible. Whichever one of them you think of as my first baseman, that's, like you said, a little bit of a sneaky speed contribution at a position where you don't normally get it. And that was one of the pieces of my strategy here was I didn't get a big stolen base guy. I don't have Turner or Gordon or Billy Hamilton or even Starling Marte or anything like that, or a Whit Merrifield or Elvis Andrews. So I was really going with stolen bases, 15, 20, 25 at a time. And to do that, for that to work, you kind of got to get them even at the spots in your lineup where they're not that easy to find. So Bellinger and Myers, both offer the 15 stolen base kind of ceiling at that first base position where a lot of people are just getting, 1 or 2 or 3.
Talking to Ray Murphy from Baseball HQ. Ray, let me ask, I want to change it up a little bit here. Back maybe 15 years ago, the Baseball Forecaster, if you were at a draft of 15 people, maybe 1 or 2 guys had the book and not everybody. Now you go to a draft, 14 out of 15 people probably have the Forecaster, and I don't know what the other guy's thinking about. But my question to you is this. When everybody sees the same thing in the same book, how do fantasy owners learn how to differentiate who the players they should bid on? Because if we all see the same thing, don't you expect that everybody knows who you guys like? And if you guys like them, they should be bidding on them. How do people make things their own using your book?
To me, it's less about the takes on the players and whether or not you're looking at the Forecaster or another source. There's so much data out there, and the data is so much more easily accessible than, in your example 15 years ago. We're having fewer and fewer insights of, so-and-so really spiked his fly ball rate in the second half, and that could lead to more home runs next year. That might have been groundbreaking 15 years ago, and now you see that anywhere. So to me, it's really, I spent a bunch of time after this draft this week writing my annual straight draft guide on Baseball HQ, which is really focused on team construction and how do you take all the insights and break. It's not just breaking down the player pool and knowing the players, but how do you sew it into a cohesive roster, and how do you do things like the example I was just giving of how are you addressing speed, and if you're trying to do it a little bit at a time, how do you make sure where are the places you can go to make sure you get 10 or 15 steals out of a corner infielder or a first base slot. To me, having a draft or auction strategy that's cohesive and then being intentional about implementing it is still where the place where differentiation happens at the draft table. It's not about player evaluation.
What do you do with the still remaining free agents out there? We obviously saw Mike Moustakas sign and Carlos Gonzalez, but you took one of the guys who hasn't signed yet, Neil Walker. A lot of people are going to be drafting this weekend. So what do you do with those guys that are still unsigned? I mean, Jake Arrieta is still out there, and some other pitchers as well. So what do you do with those guys? How do you value them at this point, and where do you take them, or how much do you spend in an auction?
In a mixed league, I think it's actually pretty easy. I think most of these guys are going to find a job. And, yeah, maybe you're guessing a little bit at the playing time opportunity they're going to get, or maybe they won't be quite ready to start the season in the case of some of the pitchers. But most of these guys we know are going to play somewhere. I mean, yeah, I took Walker the other night, and I'm still waiting for him to sign. But you know what else? I took Carlos Gonzalez, too, and I'm pretty happy about that right now. It's a much more complicated question in an AL-only or an NL-only league where you've got to lay out dollars or draft picks to guys who might end up in the other league, and you might have to cut on in their first waiver period if they're not playing in your player universe. So that's a difficult calculus. But in a mixed league, I think it's pretty easy. I think you just treat them as, maybe devalue them a little bit because of the playing time question, but I think they're already so heavily devalued that there's a profit opportunity there. I mean, if Carlos Gonzalez had signed in Colorado before Tuesday night's draft, there's no way I would have gotten them in the reserve section.
What do you think about C.J. Cron this year? I mean, Cron was a big prospect for the Angels, but he never really took off like expected. Now he's in Tampa. Should they be playing every day? Do you really think he could be a surprise this year?
I think there's some surprise potential there. I mean, he sort of seems to me, I'm not a West Coast guy, but he sort of seems to me like he's been in and out of Mike Scioscia's doghouse, or at least riding the Mike Scioscia yo-yo, particularly last year when he seemed to lose a good chunk of the first base playing time to Valbuena, even when Pujols had vacated for the DH spot, and that didn't make a heck of a lot of sense to me. But if they leave him alone for at least a half a season before they turn over to first base to Jake Bauers or whoever, I'm curious to see what Cron can do with 250 to 300 uninterrupted at bats, and we find out what he's capable of.
You obviously have to like David Price this year since you took him in the 7th round, and we've seen him fall in drafts coming off a year where he didn't pitch the whole season, dealing with the elbow issues. What do you expect from Price this year?
Yeah, I'm fairly bullish on Price. I've been targeting him in several leagues. This one was the easiest to target him because I was flying a little less blind because he had just had his first spring training outing before the draft. So, he's sort of kind of like I said about Bumgarner earlier, he's continuing to answer questions and check boxes as the spring goes along. It was, this time last year, he was already on the shelf. And he, I really think the condition of his elbow is not all that different from the partial tears that we hear about people like Masahiro Tanaka and even Shohei Ohtani managing. And Price was looked really sharp out of the bullpen at the end of last season. He had a regular off season. He's knew he was coming in to start without questions, and I really think he's in a proving himself again kind of mode. And I love the skills if the elbow is healthy. He's got an established track record of being a number one starter, and I think I probably picked up a number one starter in the 7th round. We'll see what the innings total is. That's the big question, of course.
It seems like you and Brent are very bullish on Matt Chapman. I think this guy's got some power. What else do you see in him that other people are not?
Some of it's a team construction. Like you said, we got him in the FSDA draft earlier, and I picked him up in a couple of leagues, and some of it has to do with just the fact that there is power available everywhere late in the draft, and he's a good example of it in the corner infield. In the outfield, you get guys like Scott Schebler and Adam Duvall in Cincinnati, for instance. But if you build yourself a roster where you've got the BA or OBP cushion early to be able to absorb that 240-ish hitter who can hit you 25 or more home runs late in the draft, those guys are there. And Chapman's an example of it. I've sort of pivoted to him as sort of a safety valve lead power source in a couple of drafts because of that. But the whole trick to being able to make that move is to make sure that you don't trash your batting average early so that you've still got the batting average or OBP slack to make that move late in the draft.
You took Carlos Gonzalez in round 25, and he signed the one-year deal with the Rockies going back to Colorado. How do you think the situation plays out now? We have Ian Desmond, David Dahl, Tapia, Blackman. How do you think this sorts out? Who do you expect to get most of the playing time there?
Yeah, they have a lot of depth out there, and injuries can kind of solve this problem sooner or later. But if I had sort of done the math right, if everyone was healthy, we sort of figured that there was room for 2 out of 3 between first base and the outfield of the kids, 2 out of 3 between McMahon and Tapia and Dahl, and now I think we're down to 1 out of 3. So whether it's Desmond at first base and McMahon gets kicked out as well now, or whether it's Desmond in the outfield, McMahon sticks around, and both Dahl and Tapia are out. I'm not 100% sure, but certainly got a little more crowded there. And if all these guys stay healthy, it's going to some people are going to be squeezed earlier. But the way these things go, paths to playing time always open up during the season. So some of these guys may be devalued right now, but I wouldn't lose them off your radar entirely.
Ray, I like Dexter Fowler. I know you like Dexter Fowler. Should everybody out there like Dexter Fowler?
There's a heck of a lot to like with Dexter Fowler. His career path is sort of a weird one. I almost, in some sense, feel like it was his rookie or second year in Colorado. He had that 5 stolen base game, and everyone sort of earmarked him as the next great stolen base source. And because that skill never really developed, people have sort of been underwhelmed or disappointed with him in almost a decade since then. But this is a really nice skill set with some still developing power later in his career. He still swipes a few bags here and there. He makes a lot of contact, hits the line drives for a high average. He's a nice plug in as my third outfielder option sort of anytime the option presents itself in my drafts.
All right, Ray Murphy from Baseball HQ. I wish you much luck in all your leagues this year, and we'll catch up with you very soon.
Thank you both. It was good catching up.
All right, that's good stuff there, Ronis. I feel very educated now.
Yeah, for sure. He's a good player. He was in contention last year, and expect him to be in the mix once again.
Yeah, good player, good guy. I mean, I like all these guys in your league, Ronis. I'm going to hate for you to have to.
No, you don't like all of them. There's some guys you don't like there. Don't lie.
I like Gene, Ray, and Rudy. I can't speak for
Yeah, that's why they were on the show.
Exactly. If you're not on the show, I don't know what I'm going to tell you. All right, we're coming back with Fuego Steve Hillman from...
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-292-8137 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-292-8137 for your free author submission kit. Again, that's 800-292-8137.
Have you ever wanted to have a fantasy expert in the palm of your hand? Or better yet, the pocket of your khakis? Well, check it out. Now you can. It's the Fantasy Sports Radio Network app. Download it now to your phone, we promise. No weird viruses, no strange tracking things. Just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of pure fantasy knowledge dropping all over your head. It's the Fantasy Sports Radio Network app. Stop being a weirdo and streaming it online. Get it on your phone. Take it with you everywhere you go.
Hi, it's Adam Ronis, two-time Tout Wars winner and senior fantasy expert at Scout Fantasy Sports, and I'm back on the air here at the Fantasy Sports Network. 78% of our subscribers took home a fantasy title in 2017. Scout Fantasy Sports is the source for expert analysis and the best mid to late round players to lead you to a fantasy title. There is no better team of baseball experts in the industry than the team here at Scout Fantasy Sports. Don't be a sheep and follow the herd. Sign up today at scoutfantasysports.com.
Watch Craig Carton live, the top 8 at 9 on Twitch.tv from the Fantasy Sports Network Studio 34 every Monday through Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern. Do you want to be a part of the show? Take part in the Twitch chat room and give me your opinions or call in 844-84-FNTSY. Go to Twitch.tv/Craig Carton Live and get in on the action. Come get some. It's Craig Carton Live, the top 8 at 9, only on Twitch.tv.
Fantasy Sports News Desk, sponsored by New York Daily News.
I don't like the Cleveland uniforms. They don't represent Cleveland. They have the land on their jersey.
You're talking about the gray uniforms, the alternates? Yeah, they represent Cleveland. They're made to replicate the big bridge in Cleveland that has the Guardians of Transportation.
The land could mean many different things, many different cities, many different countries. I think it needs to have Cleveland on there, or Cavaliers.
Well, the color scheme certainly represents Cleveland.
Weekdays, 6 a.m. Eastern, Saturdays, 9 a.m. Eastern, only on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Skix sneakers are taking over tailgates and alumni homes across America. Skix canvas high top, low top, slip-on, and kids tennis style sneakers designed in officially licensed college colors and logos is a must-have for every college fan's wardrobe. Fun, fashionable, and comfortable. Whether you're at the big game or watching the game at home, Skix helps fans perform better. Go to Skix.com and use promo code FNTSY for 15% off your pair now. That's Skix.com. Skix sneakers, the soul of a true fan.
I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it. Biggie.
All right, we're back. We're Scout Fantasy Sports. Dr. Roto along with Adam Ronis. Listen to me now. I want you to go to scoutfantasysports.com. Sleepers, busts, who are the cool next relievers coming up, rankings. No better place to get your fantasy baseball information. I promise you that. And, of course, scoutdfs.com. And the cool thing, Ronis, they're on one site right now, one platform.
Yes, it's great. I think it's definitely an improvement for everyone. So come out and check out scoutfantasysports.com today.
All right, and we have our resident NBA, MLB, NFL, anything else, cricket, rugby guru, Fuego
Frisbee.
Steve Hillman. Frisbee, ultimate Frisbee guru. Fuego Steve Hillman. What's up, Fuego?
He hung up.
He hung up? Well, let's call him back. How could Fuego hang up on us?
That probably lost connection. Or you said something that upset him.
Do we not pay him?
I don't know about that. That's beyond my
That's beyond your pay grade.
responsibilities. Yeah.
Let's get back into that and find out. All right, we'll get Fuego Steve on with us. I don't know what happened. We'll just call it technical difficulties. Ronis, I'm looking at this slate tonight. There's a lot of games here.
Yeah, there is. And there's obviously a lot of injuries as well. This is going to be an interesting slate tonight because we don't know about Anthony Davis. He's probably not going to play, would be my guess. Steph Curry has been ruled out. He injured his ankle last week, so he's going to miss some time. And, of course, LeBron James is on the slate, and he's been killing it. James Harden going up against Toronto, Giannis. So there's a lot of studs on the slate tonight, a lot of injuries as well. So it's going to be a very interesting lineup construction tonight.
I think there's some must-plays, though, tonight, Ronis.
For me,
Anthony Davis out. I think Mirotic is a must-play.
Mirotic, yeah, I think so. He's going against Washington. He's 7K on DK. For me, I think you have to lock in Kevin Durant. I mean, Steph Curry is out. We saw Kevin Durant go off last night. He's 8,900 on DK. Like, really? I mean, I know they didn't know the news and the pricing came out before the end of last night's game, but Kevin Durant without Steph Curry is a beast. We saw last night. I know it's back-to-back, but they're going into Portland. Portland's been on a roll. They are playing very good basketball. So I don't see a blowout at all. I think this will be a competitive game. To me, Durant's lock and load on DK at 89.
All right, let's find out from our friend Fuego Steve Hillman, who's back. I guess the check came in the mail, and now you can talk to us again.
How you doing today, guys?
All right, we're talking about Mirotic as a play. We're talking about McCollum. We're talking about Durant. We're talking about Lillard. I mean, I also think Hezonja. How do we pronounce that?
Hezonja.
He's like a must-play now without Aaron Gordon there and without Fournier there. So who are the must-plays tonight, Fuego?
Yeah, Hezonja is good chalk, I think. No Gordon, no Fournier. He usually does well when he gets the minutes. You got Anthony Davis, who's doubtful, which gives a bump to all the New Orleans guys. Let's see. Adam mentioned Durant's price of only 8,900 on DK. I feel like pricing on DK
and 98 on FanDuel.
Yeah, it's still not even over 10,000. So we all know what happens to Durant when Curry's out. His usage goes through the roof. He's a great play for sure. Those are definitely some of the better plays. Mirotic, you mentioned 6,700 on FanDuel. No Anthony Davis, most likely. Definitely gets a big bump. Like I said, as do all the New Orleans guys. Drew Holiday, Rondo, they all get a bump.
We mentioned Durant with no Curry. How about Draymond Green? I mean, he had the triple-double last night. He's usually sees a little bit of a boost in assists with Curry out. He's 7,400 on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's a good play, too. I always get nervous playing him after he has a triple-double like that, but, no Curry, so, their prices didn't move. I like Klay Thompson, but Green's definitely in play, under 8,000 on both sites. I think all three of the big guys now that Curry's out are in play tonight.
I know this sounds crazy, but Emeka Okafor, I mean, I know he might be 45 years old. It's possible. I remember him when he was playing in college when I might have been in college. The guy's 3,800. What if he puts up 38 FanDuel points tonight, gives me 10X?
I'm okay with putting with him. Normally, in the past, we didn't target Martin Gortat, but Gortat hasn't been as good recently. So if you want to punt there, I'm okay with it.
Also, we got tonight, how about Frank Mason for Sacramento? He's 3,800 on DK. And we saw last time when De'Aaron Fox was out, he played pretty well. And you got to think he's going to be in the spot tonight where the minutes are going to be there. He played 29 minutes the last game. And he's probably going to get big minutes tonight. So is he someone that, if you're looking to save some money, 39 on FanDuel, 38 on DK?
Yeah, definitely. If Fox is out, he is an absolute value play that you can get into your lineups. Little riskier than some of the other value. I think Hazonia might be a little safer, but at that position, at that price, if he's getting the start, he's definitely in play for sure. Also gives a bump to the shooting guards on Sacramento. And watch Willie Cauley-Stein, still questionable, so we have to watch with the forwards and centers for Sacramento.
What about Tim Hardaway Jr.? Courtney Lee is out, and, the Knicks can use some offense there. I don't trust any of their shooting guards. Can Hardaway put up about 30 tonight?
He can. He's always risky. He's only put up 30 once the past week. He's got some 40s over a week ago, but then he's got some 17s and 22s. So he's always a GPP play, but risky for sure.
Larry Nance has been crushing it lately, but the price has risen. He is 7,800 on FanDuel, 7,100 on DK. They're going up against the Clippers tonight. Should be a high-scoring game. Is he too expensive right now, or can you still play him?
I think you can still play him. He's still under 8. I like him a little better on DK with that price, but he has gone over 40 the past 2 games on FanDuel, so it's still okay if you think he's going to get to a ceiling game. It is tough, though, to pay for him over Draymond and even Mirotic, but I wouldn't fault anyone for playing Nance the way he's been playing, and with that high over-under, like you said.
Fuego, we were joking the other day that how good is the optimizer? It's said to play James Ennis the third when he wasn't even starting, and the guy went and had a bunch of points. Now Ennis is starting tonight. Stanley Johnson is out. Is he a good buy at like 4,700 on FanDuel?
He's okay. I don't mind it. I don't mind it for the under 5,000 guys. He can play along with Etwan Moore, Jonathan Simmons, but Hazonia only 4,300 is definitely the place you want to go first. But yeah, if you wanted to go Bullock or Enos or all these, it's tough getting the Pistons guys right. I feel like I've been rostering Bullock more, but yeah, there's not a lot of value standing out to me right now. So you got to watch this news and find it where you can.
There's a possibility that Otto Porter doesn't play tonight. He has a game-time decision with a bruised right hip, and that is a high-scoring game, an over-under of 220 Pelicans and Wizards. If Porter is out, who benefits?
Bradley Beal for sure. Bradley Beal will get a bump. He already has big usage with no John Wall, but him and Porter kind of split who has the ceiling each game. With no Porter, Beal, it's going to be would be a great play. I don't mind Kelly Oubre, who would be starting, but he doesn't light it up when he starts. But you could consider him, but Beal gets a bump.
Do I have to get LeBron in my lineup on DK, or can I win without him?
Oh, Marquise Morris gets a bump. All the Wizards starters get a bump. Do you need LeBron? No, you don't need LeBron. Like you mentioned the price with Durant. The money you could save from LeBron to Durant is quite a bit on both sites, actually. But LeBron's just been playing great, so if you can get him in your lineup, I say go for it. He's the most consistent of all the high-priced guys tonight. Let's put it that way.
This seems like there's a lot of good spots tonight. There's going to be a lot of value. Is this a night where you want to put in multiple lineups here?
Yeah, it's a 10-game slate. I was anytime you have one of these big slates where you want to, if you can, do multiple lineups. Even in the single entry, you're going to get weird stuff, so you may have to be a little weirder than normal. on a 10-game slate. There's going to be someone who goes off that if you don't have, you're in big trouble. So I definitely recommend multiple lineups on larger slates if you can. Stick to a core, though. Stick to a core group of guys and mix in players around them.
What do we do with a kid like Jonathan Isaac, who seems to like maybe he got an opportunity? He's like $3,300 on DraftKings. Is he a guy I could stick in if I want to get like a Durant and Jokic and go for an expensive lineup?
Yeah, you have to watch his minutes. He was on a restriction yesterday. He's 33 on DK. I kind of want to wait until he gets over that 20 minutes before I roster him.
We talked about the Magic being shorthanded. No Fournier, no Aaron Gordon. So you mentioned Hazonia. But Nikola Vucevic going against the Kings here. Is he in a good spot tonight? Is he someone that maybe might go a little bit underlooked? Because we talked about a bunch of studs and values already that we want to try and get in. Could Vucevic be someone that goes a little bit under-owned?
Yeah, I saw a tweet from Jaguar Lou from Scout DFS who said he really liked Vucevic tonight. Good spot versus the Kings. Will Gonzalez questionable. So, I mean, he'd be going up against Kufis or Old Man Randall or Scott Lapierre. But he should work whoever he's up against. No Gordon, no Fournier means more usage to go around. So I do like him. I'm going to pay up for any center, at least on FanDuel. He's the one that I would pay up for. I don't mind Rudy Gobert on DK.
Let me ask you this. In terms of, what about Montrezl Harrell? This guy's been pretty good when he plays. He's a monster. Can we rely on him, though?
I like him tonight for sure. Big over-under. 3 of his last 4, he's over 30 points. Reliable, that's a strong word. I mean, because he did put up 16 a couple of days ago, so he does have a small floor. But he has been playing well. Even the 2 games before that, 25 FanDuel points in both games. He's still a reasonable price, although it has creeped up to 5,700. What's he on DK, Adam? You know off the top of your head? But either way, he's 5,400 on DK. So I like him for sure. And I think Tobias Harris. I don't think it's Tobias Harris night, so I think that gives a bump to Harrell for sure.
We didn't even talk about the Lakers and Nuggets. That's a 229.5 in Denver. Who do you like from this game?
Yeah, there's a lot of good over-unders tonight for sure. Some high totals. Who do I like? Kuzma's okay. You could go Kyle Kuzma. Lonzo Ball's been playing well. His price, well, he's only 7,500 on FanDuel. He's okay. I don't mind Ball. Who's Randall matchup? Randall should have a good matchup as well. I'm not sure if I'm going Joker. It's just expensive, and I might be paying in that mid-range for center tonight. I always like the guards on Denver, Barton and Harris.
I'm a little surprised, Fuego. At 229, I figured you'd be more heated up about that.
Well, I like that Cleveland Clippers game. I like the Washington-New Orleans game, even though it's a little bit lower. I mean, I do like players. I'm just there's no one that's standing out to me right now from the game. I say, you got to get this guy in.
We talked about Golden State. We know about Durant and Draymond and maybe even Klay Thompson. Is there anyone that's cheap that you can go with there, or they just spread it out too much?
On Golden State? Yeah, I'm not like a big Sean Livingston guy. Like even if he's starting, I would rather play Klay Thompson or Durant or Green. McGee, I don't think I'm going to go there. Some of the backups like Caspi, I don't think I'm going to go to. So I would just stick to the big 3 unless you're a big risk taker.
Fuego, on a night like tonight, I think Adam alluded to this before. If I don't play 25 lineups, am I going to lose?
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to lose, but you mentioned in the past about having to be perfect sometimes for NBA. In those in the big GPPs, the low dollar, large entries, you do have to be perfect sometimes on a 10-game slate. In the single entries, the 3 max, you don't have to be as perfect, but you're still going to have to do really well. You're going to see probably some high scores tonight, and there's going to be a couple guys. Like I'm debating right now, like, do you have to have Hazonia? I mean, if Hazonia goes for 30 points at 4,300 or more, 35, you're in trouble if you don't have them. It's definitely, I definitely recommend. I always recommend doing more lineups if you can. Not just to do them and not just to get exposure everywhere. Again, stick to a core, but then you've got to mix in other players because, you just don't know on a huge slate.
Real quick, Drew Holiday tonight if Davis is out.
I'm getting a bunch of dings on my phone, so there must be some news. Drew Holiday, love him with Davis out. 8,500, still not too much for a ceiling. He can get 50 or more points. So he got 56 2 days ago, 46 the other day, 43 before that. I love Drew Holiday.
All right, we love you, Fuego, Steve, Hillman. Good luck tonight in becoming my newest rich friend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, talk soon, Fuego. I like Drew Holiday tonight a ton, Ronis.
Yeah, there's so many guys to like on this slate tonight. There really is. It's going to be probably a good night for cash because the value is obvious.
I have one word for you. Optimizer. That's the word, Ronis. That's the word. It's going to help you. I promise you. I like Vucevic tonight, too. All right,
there's so many guys tonight.
I know, it's crazy. All right, let's take a little time out. When we come up, we'll wrap this up when we return right after this.
Thanks. I think someone has a crush on you. Okay, who? Let's make a game of it. One of these is a lie. He's 6'4". He collects stuffed exotic birds. He spends his free time trying to save lives. Are you talking about Kevin? Yeah. He's a registered bone marrow donor. Last week he got a call. He might be a match. He's so cute. Oh, he is.
You could be a life-saving match for a patient with blood cancer. Learn more at dkms.org.
Steiner Sports is the leading memorabilia provider for the New York Yankees, Rangers, Giants, Knicks, and the Brooklyn Nets. Featuring hundreds of items from your favorite athletes, Steiner Sports is your source for the best sports gifts. Go to steinersports.com/box and shop our collection of memorabilia boxes, which include 10 gifts for the price of one. We've made one for each of your favorite teams. Hurry, supplies are limited, and these are some of the best deals we have ever offered. So go to steinersports.com/box today.
Hey there, everybody. It's me, Joe Pisapia. Baseball is back, and that means the Fantasy Baseball Black Book is back as well. It's me. It's Paul Sporer writing starting pitching profiles. It's Jake Seeley. It's Sammy Reed writing DFS. It's a whole lot of greatness right here for you. You can get the new Fantasy Black Book for baseball on Amazon, on iTunes. You can get it in paperback. You can get it for your Kindle. You can get it anywhere you want, but make sure you get it because once you go Black Book, you never go back.
Hey, I'm Jeff. Look, I'm just a skeleton. I don't have an ACL anymore, but I'd still like to know what it means when one of my fantasy players sprains his. That's why I use the Inside Injuries app. It was created by real doctors, so you're getting information directly from people who have seen, touched, and operated on actual ACLs. Take it from me, a skeleton. If you aren't using it, you might as well just be guessing. Download the free app today and unlock the secrets of injury analysis.
Roto experts.
We all know Greinke's been a weird personality. Does this start to concern you where he starts to say, let's hope that they're still fooled. Let's hope that I just have my control?
I don't know if we're going to overreact to this. Zach Greinke doesn't want to talk to the media. He's forced to talk to the media. He could be playing games with them. I don't know. I don't think I'm overreacting to spring training velocity drops. I'm not buying a whole lot into this Greinke story. And if you want to pass on Greinke in your draft based on this, well, go ahead and be my guest.
Listen on the FNTSY Radio Network and on popular podcast providers.
Have you ever wanted to have a fantasy expert in the palm of your hand? Or better yet, in the pocket of your khakis? Well, check it out. Now you can. It's the Fantasy Sports Radio Network app. Download it now to your phone. We promise no weird viruses, no strange tracking things, just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of pure fantasy knowledge dropping all over your head. It's the Fantasy Sports Radio Network app. Stop being a weirdo and streaming it online. Get it on your phone. Take it with you everywhere you go.
All right, we're back. You know that Fantasy Factor is the perfect daily fantasy site for the casual recreational player. Fatter prize pools, smaller fields, and single entry contests only. Fantasy Factor always has fun contests going right now. Free entry, March Madness bracket, and a Sweet 16 bracket, and a Fantasy Factor is running $100,000 home run derby this year. Simply sign up and enter www.fantasyfactor.com. I might do that, Ronis. I don't play enough fantasy. I think I need to play more.
Yeah, definitely. You got a lot of money to get rid of.
Yeah, exactly. I just need to find ways to get rid of it. I'm sure if my kids would take every penny.
Oh, they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Oh, my God. Every week. How are you doing in golf? Because that's all I've been killing it. I'm like, Jordan Spieth's killing me. So my daughter's like, so I'm not getting a computer? I'm like, not this week.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. You're not getting one.
She was like, how much do I have to win for me to get, how much do you have to win for me to get a computer? I'm like, 10,000? She goes, all right.
That's rough. It looks like she's not getting that computer anytime soon.
Dude, I mean, what? If I win 3,000, you think I'm paying 1,500 for a Mac?
Why not? It's your daughter.
I know it's my daughter. I get that part. I'm related to her. But I was going to get her a computer for her graduation.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair, right? I don't have to do it today, right?
Is she graduating in June?
She is graduating May. She is graduating middle school in June. She's going to she just got accepted to high school next year.
Okay, so then you got a couple months to get that computer.
Exactly. Come on, Jordan Spieth. Stop hitting 5 over the first 2 days of this tournament. I got bills to pay. Guy's been such a dog with fleas at him. Oh, my God. All right, what things are you looking for right now in spring training? It's the last couple of weeks. Do you have any drafts coming up next week?
Oh, a ton. Yeah, I have NFBC auction a week from Sunday. Then I have home league, GST league, local auction league with some industry people. So, yeah, I have a lot of drafts coming up over the next couple weekends.
What things will you start looking for? I mean, or if you're not, or is it the same thing? You're just looking at news and notes? I mean, are you looking at statistics? Who hit what a home run here? Who struck out somebody? What are you looking at right now in spring training?
As we start to get closer, batting orders, position battles, who's winning, pitchers that maybe are incorporating a new pitch, velocity. So a lot of different things. A guy like Starling Marte has certainly opened eyes. This is a guy that had some question marks with the PD suspension last year. And he's sizzling this spring. Hit second home run yesterday. He's been stealing bases. Colton Wong, that's another one to keep an eye on. He's been running a lot. Last I saw, he had like 5-6 stolen bases, working with Willie McGee a little bit. Now, the only issue with him is if he's hitting 8th in the lineup in the National League, they're usually not going to allow you to steal too many bases, but maybe there's a possibility he moves up in the order. Yohan Moncada, a guy hitting leadoff, he's still stolen a couple bases as well. So those are some of the things you want to see. And I did also, Miguel Sano is a guy that we talked about, saw that he hit 2 home runs today. So
wow, that rod in the leg is doing well.
Round 12, baby, in Tout Wars.
Colton Wong is interesting because I'm dying for him to be the Cardinals' leadoff hitter. I really am. I don't think that. I mean, that's not Pham. I know they have Carpenter bats high. I have no problem with Colton Wong batting leadoff, but I don't think it's going to happen.
There's Dexter Fowler.
I know, but I still think I would rather Wong batting first.
Dexter Fowler is a proven OBP guy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So if you're a manager, you go Fowler 1, Pham 2?
Yeah. And Carpenter, obviously, his health's going to be a big factor here. If he's ready to go, he'll probably be the 3 hitter. So that's the only problem.
So Ozuna's the 4.
Yeah. Then Molina.
Right. DeJong 6.
DeJong, yeah. And then maybe Wong 7, Jorko 8 when he plays. We could do that. So
I know. I think Wong is going to bat. I think Wong is going to bat 8th, Ronis. And how about Milwaukee? How about Arcia? I love this kid, and I really want him batting leadoff. I don't know if that's going to happen. You think it'll be Jonathan VR?
No. It's going to be Yelich and Kane up top.
So you put Kane 1, Yelich 2?
They might go Yelich. They might go Yelich 1, Kane 2, Shaw, Braun, Santana.
Interesting. Wait, where's Santana?
Garcia probably hit 7th, VR 8.
Where does Santana fit there?
What do you mean? Where does he
Yelich,
fit?
Kane, and Braun.
Yeah, Braun at first, Santana in right.
Oh, you have Braun at first, so you have Thames out.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're probably going to switch it up. We'll see how Braun adjusts to first base. And Thames obviously is not going to hit against a lot of lefties. So they have a lot of moving parts here, and they have to make some trades. Obviously, pitching is going to be a big thing for them. And, Zach Davies is dealing with a strained oblique right now. They're saying it's not serious, but we'll see. But, look, this is a great offense, but they have a lot of questions on pitching, and you would expect them to make a move.
I like Chase Anderson a little bit, and I like Jimmy Nelson when he's healthy, but the rest of it is a little poo-poo platter there.
Oh, yeah, there's major problems in this starting rotation. And
how about moving Josh Hader to the rotation? Can you do that?
Seems like they don't want to yet. I don't know. They're keeping him in the pen for now.
He was very good in the pen, but Jacob Barnes was good at some point last year. Jeremy Jeffress has been good in the pen. I mean, maybe you have to move Hader to the rotation.
Yeah, they might be forced to at some point because right now it's just not a good enough rotation for them to win this division.
I heard a very good interview today with our friend Craig Mish and Lewis Brinson this morning. Did you hear that one?
I did not, but Brinson is a guy that I took in my great baseball fantasy invitational draft. That there's 13 leagues of 15 teams. There's an overall and then a league. And I took Brinson pretty late. I think, let me see, I took him in round 19.
He spoke beautifully, dude. He just was very articulate. And, he was talking about Monte Harrison. You like Monte Harrison in a Dynasty League?
Dynasty, yeah. I don't think, you might not see him up this year, maybe late in the year. But
I say 2019.
That's probably would be the ETA. But yeah, hopefully Brinson does start the year in the majors. I see no reason why they shouldn't, and he's had a great spring, so he's done everything he can, and hopefully he is up to start the year.
If you keep Brinson down, what does that say? This guy's done everything asked at AAA. He's got nothing left to prove. You make a trade. He's the number one guy you get back for Yelich. Don't you have to put him out there opening day?
Yeah, I think you want him to be the identity of the team. He turns 24 in May. It's not like he's 20 or 21. He has had a small taste of the big leagues. He did struggle a lot, though, struck out quite a bit, but it's going to happen with some young players. You got to let them learn on the job. So he spent a couple years at AAA, so it's time to get him in the outfield and play every day.
Dude, the Marlins pitching staff is disgusting. I mean, it's really, really bad. Do you know off the top of your head, how many home runs did Dan Straley let up last year?
32.
Yeah, 31 in 181 innings. Oh, my God. And Jose Urena can't strike anybody out. And they got a bunch of bums at the end of that rotation. That's terrible.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. You're going to want to definitely pick on the Marlins pitchers in DFS, especially when they're out of that home park. But, yeah, this is a team that we know is a disaster. They do have some decent pieces on offense, but it's not what it was. I mean, again, that was one of the better offenses last year with Stanton, Gordon, Yelich up top, Real Muto, and Bourt. And now you're stripping those pieces away. So they still have some decent hitters. Justin Bour is a good hitter. Real Muto's still there. I'd expect Brinson to start the year with the team. They added Cameron Maybin. So still some decent bats. But, man, this pitching staff is just makes you want to vomit.
Oh, it's really bad. Did you see, I think Ms. Mish's tweet that Junichi Tozawa is making more than Mike Moustakas next year?
There's a lot of guys making more than Mike Moustakas last year, including Homer Bailey.
Yeah, Homer Bailey and Junichi Tozawa, two guys who will never be on my fantasy team, are making more money than Mike Moustakas. That's crazy.
It is, man. The way the market has shifted is unbelievable.
All right, worst starting rotation. Marlins or Padres?
Marlins, for sure.
Do you like Brian Mitchell?
Yeah, I've taken him in the draft champions leagues late. So, not someone you're going to draft in a... I don't even think he went in Tout Wars, did he? I don't think he did. Maybe he did in the last couple rounds, but that's a 15-team. Yeah, 15 teams, 20. It's worth taking a shot on late. Again, we have 3 weeks of the season. Maybe he gets off to a hot start. Seeing here today, though, that Steven Matz threw 4 scoreless. So he was my last pick in round 29 at Tout Wars. So I don't know. We'll see. The Mets, have some battles there for the rotation. Michael Fulmer, 3 innings, 1 run, 5 Ks. Good sign for him after the elbow scare last week. And he's a guy that needs to get more strikeouts. So good sign for those that already drafted Fulmer and they were a little bit concerned. Good to see him go out there, 3 innings, 5 Ks. But yeah, the Mets have a couple spots up for grab. Syndergaard's locked in, DeGrom's locked in. You got to think that Harvey gets the shot, and then you're looking at Matz, Wheeler, and Vargas. And I got to think that they put Vargas in a rotation. They went out there and signed him. I mean, I would rather see Matz out there if he's good to go in Wheeler, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Mets do for these last couple spots.
I felt like Fulmer and Danny Duffy are very similar to each other for me. Both guys coming off injury. Both guys are number 1 starters in their teams. Both guys have teams that are struggling. But they both could put up very big numbers if they stay healthy.
Fulmer's got to get the strikeouts up for today's fantasy game. And I think you do have to take in consideration the teams they pitch for it. They're just not going to win a lot of games. You could say, well, wins are tough to figure. I think this year, though, you have elite teams at the top where these pitchers are going to get offensive run support. If you're pitching for the Yankees, the Astros, the Indians, there's a good chance you're going to win a decent amount of games. But then you got these teams on the lower end. The Tigers are not going to be very good. The Royals are not going to be very good. So what is the ceiling for Duffy, even if he stays healthy? 10, 11 wins? So I think you have to look at that when you're trying to separate these guys. And the Duffy has shown he can be a good pitcher. I think maybe he's a little bit undervalued in drafts right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's great, and I don't think he's going to win more than 10 games, but he's supremely undervalued for what he's able to do. I mean, the guy should throw an ERA under 4, have a whip of 1.2 something, get you maybe 150 strikeouts and 170 innings. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, 1.26 whip last year, 1.14 2 years ago. Doesn't allow a lot of home runs, which is pretty important, and he doesn't issue a lot of walks. So those are 2 things you want to see from your pitcher. So you're not going to get a lot of wins. You don't know how many innings you're going to get out of him either. I mean, 150, 160 might be what you project. This guy's never thrown 200 innings in his career. Career high was 179 and 2/3 2 years ago. So let's hope he could stay out of trouble.
What about Tyson Ross? Anyway, this guy comes back. I mean, you probably could get him for nothing in drafts now.
He's always had a good arm, and he's always someone that I've had, but I need to see him get healthy. He was terrible last year. He's had major injuries the last 2 years. He hasn't pitched much. It was a disaster last year when he was on the mound. So I haven't drafted him. I just think there's better options with more upside than Tyson Ross. It's been a while since we've seen him produce.
I mean, is he a guy that you put on your reserve squad at the around 28, 29, or are there better guys out there?
Not for me. There's better options.
All right, I would agree with that. What about Dillison Lamet?
I like him. I mean, he's got a good arm. The issue with him is getting a third pitch that's effective and getting out left-handed hitters. I had Lamet in Tout Wars last year, picked him up, and there were games he was really good and games where he got hit because the walks are still a little bit of a problem. Home runs are still a little bit of a problem. So, you see this often with pitchers. Got to get a third pitch. He's primarily a fastball slider guy. It's not really working in the major leagues as a starting pitcher, especially when you're going through the order 2-3 times. So the stuff is there. It gets a lot of swings and misses, but he's got to get that third pitch. Got to get a effective changeup or curveball. I did see he's working on a curve. So that is something to keep an eye on. See, that's what I want to see in the spring is guys working on a third pitch. Or we see this sometimes that these pitchers are one pitch away from having that potential breakout. And Lamet is a guy to keep an eye on as there's some issues right now. I mean, he had a 364 WOBA against last year against lefties, 239 against righties. So if you're the opponent, you load up with left-handed hitters against them, and it's going to put you in a good spot. So those are something you want to see from Lamet. But he goes, mid-rounds. I have taken him in a couple drafts. Willing to see if it can stick. The strikeouts are going to be there. So now you have to see if he can make those adjustments to take that step up.
Eloy Jimenez, dealing with tendonitis, could probably go start the year in Double-A. Do we see him at some point this year? Because I love this guy in a dynasty league, but if I'm on a redraft league, I originally thought maybe I'd see him in July, August, but now I'm thinking September.
Yeah, it could be a while. I don't think in a redraft league, I think there's other prospects that probably have a quicker call. There's no need for the White Sox to rush him. He's 21 years old, and this team has a lot of good young talent. Don't see them contending this year. Major question marks on the pitching staff. So there's no need for them to rush him at this point. So a lot's going to depend on where is he at injury-wise, but my guess is we might not see him till next year.
All right, Adam Ronis, what are you doing this weekend? Anything interesting?
Not as of yet. The next 2 weekends are really busy with drafts, so no drafts this weekend. I would have liked to go practice some softball, but there's snow on the ground, so maybe I'll hit the cages.
Really?
Because softball starts too. Yeah, there's batting cages not too far from me. So
can you do softball batting cages?
Yes, they have it.
Really?
Why is that a surprise? They don't have softball batting cages down there?
Not that I've seen. Maybe no, I haven't seen one.
Yeah, no, there's plenty up here.
Is it arc or is it modified?
Both.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I honestly haven't even seen any batting. I'm sure there are batting cages down here. I haven't seen any. We don't have a place that has batting cages.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. I mean, again, I only lived down there for 7 months, so I played a little softball. I wasn't on a team, not being down there that too long, but I played with some friends, companies, and pickup games when I was there.
I see mostly people playing random soccer games, not so much baseball. Baseball I see up north more.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of softball out here. People are really into softball, and especially once that weather gets warm, man, there's games like all day on like all these fields.
I know, it's nice. Well, enjoy. If you go to the batting cages, Jonas, hit one out.
I have a batting cage? You can't tell if it's a home run. I just want line drives, man.
Just make good contact. All right, it's time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Want to thank Ray Murphy. Want to thank Rudy Gamble. Want to thank Fuego Steve Hillman. Want to thank Mike and Chris in the studio and Ronis. Another good week in the books.
Definitely, and we will be back Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely. Check out scoutfantasysports.com. It's a new format. We love it. All right, please be there with us. This is Dr. Roto saying have a great weekend. Be well. Take care.